We got an interesting one that just arrived in the studio. Why don't we go top to bottom? I'll tell you everything that I have discerned about it thus far. So there's my little rechargeable tuner. You can tell it's on because I was just playing this a minute ago. It appears to be a mahogany neck. Now I'm going to tell you, on the IYV listings, like go to Amazon and read the listings, all the specs are wrong usually. I don't necessarily think that's acceptable, but I'm pretty sure it says it's a maple neck. This looks like a mahogany neck to me. We'll see the back. You'll see the grain pattern. You'll see what I'm saying. 6 unbranded sealed cast tuners, 1 little wire string tree here. This is a hard plastic nut. It could be bone, actually. I need to get like a hot needle or get the soldering iron and push into it. Actually, it feels like maybe it's bone. I'm not sure, but it is not the light plastic that you see on some of the inexpensive guitars. It's either bone or that Darylin type really rigid plastic. Normally IYV uses a Jatoba fretboard. These are steel frets, and if you see how they're rounded over here, that is because I just took my sanding block, my sanding sponge, and went up and down the sides with the sanding sponge. You can see the marks on it right here from the darker Jatoba wood to clean up and round over. They weren't hanging off, they weren't cut in my fingers, but they were cut a little bit sharp on the edges. So you can see that sanding block rounds them off real nicely. Little white dot markers. As we come down the sound hole, what's interesting is you can look in here and see how thick that top wood is. We'll get into more on that thickness here shortly. The shape is reminiscent of like maybe a Fender Jazzmaster. Overall, it seems to resemble the Fender Acoustasonic series to me. So you have the sound hole for the acoustic function, and then what is basically a bridge humbucker pickup right above an acoustic saddle with electric guitar strings. All right. Is your head swimming right now trying to figure out what in the world am I looking at, with acoustic string pins here holding them down just past that compensated bridge? Yeah, there is a piezo pickup under there. More on that in a moment. We have a volume knob and a tone knob, a 3-way switch. In this position, we're on the humbucker. In the middle, it's a combination of the humbucker and the piezo. When you go in this lower position, now you're just on the piezo pickup, and you have to have a battery. I'll show you in the back where they have made a change. You'll read some reviews, you'll see some videos when they came out with these where the battery used to go. They have added a dedicated place to put the battery. Now your output jack is on a metal plate down here. Don't call that an input jack, okay? It's an input jack on an amp. It's an output jack on a guitar. On the back, you can see it is a bolt-on neck. Here are your screws to hold it on, and then the reinforcement plate. This is going to be, actually, I think this is probably the rear access to get to that humbucker. We'll do another video where I take these off because I'm actually not positive exactly what's in here. So we're going to pull those off in another video and look. This appears to be the back of the control cavity for those 2 knobs. And then this is where the 9-volt battery goes. And the little trick that I learned is there's no place for the wire. You have to tuck the wire in, a little hole in there, before you can actually fit the battery in and shut the door. And again, that only makes the acoustic piezo pickup work. The other pickup is passive, and the humbucker works all the time when it's hooked up. I said we'd look at the neck in a little more detail. That doesn't look like maple to me. That looks like some variant of a mahogany, that really kind of open grain pattern. And I really like this type of finish where it's kind of an open pore satin. It reminds me of the old Gibson Faded or Worn series. My first Gibson SG was a worn or faded, I can't remember. I had several back then. I really like that kind of open pore finish. Here we are, the back of those sealed cast unbranded tuners. Nice looking headstock with, we won't call that a volute because this isn't a tip back Gibson style headstock. This looks like a knot that would be a rough spot. I feel absolutely nothing there. It feels perfectly fine. We've got the little side marker dots here all the way down. You can see this appears to be a solid piece of wood. Now, I don't know if that is a veneer, but I know looking into the sound hole on the other side, it certainly gave the appearance to me. I don't know if this is like one piece of wood that they cut the inside out and then glued it back together or what, But if you look at the grain pattern down here, it appears that this whole thickness where this is beveled, like this is solid up here. And you see how thick it is through the sound hole. This is an unusual constructed guitar. How does it play though? So far, once I got the strings stretched in, and I did need to tighten the little screw in this. This screw here pulls the little horizontal shaft that comes through there. It pulls that tight and takes the slop out. So if you find your tuning keys have a little bit of play in them, they wobble back and forth before actually turning the shaft, then very, very minorly tighten that little screw, and that'll take some of the slop out oftentimes. Once I tightened all of these so there was no slop, the tuners felt good and worked very well. So yeah, this is an interesting one. It's neat, it's different, it looks really nice. It's not perfect. There's a little bit of a ding under the finish here and a little bit of a scrape on top of the finish there. But from what I hear, the early versions of this did not have that battery compartment on the back, and they were prone to have more little mishaps on them. I was expecting something that was on the edge of a train wreck, and what we got is a guitar that sounds really nice. I like the humbucker, but that piezo pickup has got a lot more mid and bass to it. It's very resonant feeling and sounding. It plays well, it sounds pretty good, with no adjustments to the action. All I did was tune it and stretch the strings. I just played for 15 minutes and was having a ball. Yeah, it's better than I expected it to be. Maybe if you get one, you'll get a good one too.